As the spring of 1945 unfolded, Europe was a continent that bore the deep scars of a protracted and brutal war. All eyes were on Berlin, the once mighty capital of Nazi Germany, now teetering on the precipice of destruction. The Red Army, battle-hardened and resolute, inched ever closer to the city, leaving behind a trail of desolation marked by bombed-out towns and villages. Inflicted the same pain the German troops had done to Stalingrad. The Soviet soldiers who approached Berlin had endured unimaginable hardship on the Eastern Front. They were weary warriors, their faces etched with a peculiar mix of determination and exhaustion. These were men who had been through hell and back, and Berlin represented the final chapter in their odyssey. As they advanced, they were met not only with the physical toll of war but also the psychological weight of knowing they were closing in on the heart of the Nazi regime. Sergei Ivanov's journey through the crucible of war began amidst the unforgiving snowstorms of Stalingrad. As a young Soviet soldier, he had been thrust into the heart of one of the most brutal battles of World War II. The city had become a frozen hell, a battleground where life was measured in heartbeats. In Stalingrad, Sergei had learned the art of survival. He huddled in the ruins of shattered buildings, clutching his Mosin Nagant rifle, his breath visible in the biting cold. The stench of death and burning rubble permeated the air. He had seen comrades fall beside him, their eyes filled with fear and determination. In the freezing nights, Sergei and his fellow soldiers shared what little warmth they could find, trading stories of home, family, and dreams of a world without war. They clung to their camaraderie as a lifeline in the relentless chaos of battle. Berlin's defenders, on the other hand, were a disparate group. Among them were battle-hardened Wehrmacht soldiers who had fought in the crucible of earlier battles, young boys from the Hitler Youth, and elderly men who had been thrust into service in the Volkssturm. These men shared a common sense of foreboding as they fortified their positions in the war-ravaged city. Fear was palpable, but so was the grim determination to defend their homeland against the encroaching enemy. Years passed, and Sergei survived the horrors of Stalingrad. He bore scars, both physical and emotional, from the inferno that had raged in that city. But he had also found a deep well of inner strength, a determination to keep moving forward. Now, in the spring of 1945, Sergei found himself on the outskirts of Berlin. The city stood as the last bastion of Nazi resistance, and Sergei's journey had led him to this pivotal moment. He had seen the Red Army advance through Eastern Europe, liberating cities and towns from the grip of tyranny. As he approached Berlin, memories of Stalingrad came flooding back. The eerie familiarity of urban warfare, the rubble-strewn streets, and the haunting echoes of gunfire reminded him of the frozen hell he had endured years earlier. He knew that the battle ahead would be fierce, but he was no longer the frightened youth who had first stepped onto the battlefield in Stalingrad. The battle for Berlin was urban warfare at its most brutal. The once grand boulevards of the city were transformed into nightmarish corridors of rubble and debris. The air was thick with the acrid scent of burning buildings and gunpowder. Every street, every building, every corner became a potential killing ground. The relentless rattle of machine gun fire, the thunderous explosions of artillery shells, and the heart-rending cries of wounded soldiers and civilians combined to create a cacophony of horror. Each step forward carried the weight of uncertainty, every turn of a corner was fraught with the specter of death. The battle was a relentless onslaught. The city's defenders fought fiercely, driven by desperation and fanaticism. Sergei and his comrades navigated the treacherous urban terrain, inching closer to the heart of the Nazi regime. Each step forward carried the weight of past battles, each street corner turned brought memories of comrades lost. Amidst the chaos, Sergei's thoughts often wandered to his home in the Urals and the family he had left behind. He yearned for the day when he could return to them, to a world free from the horrors of war. Amid the chaos and destruction, the defenders and attackers grappled with the grim realities of close-quarter combat. House-to-house fighting became a grim routine, with soldiers on both sides forced to confront the intimate brutality of warfare. It was not just about the physical dangers but also the emotional toll, as soldiers witnessed the deaths of comrades and adversaries at close range. Hidden beneath the city's shattered surface lay the infamous Führerbunker, Adolf Hitler's last refuge. Inside its dimly lit chambers, Hitler and his inner circle confronted the stark reality of their crumbling empire. As the world above them crumbled, Hitler and Eva Braun chose to end their lives in an act of desperation, marking the symbolic end of the Nazi regime. May 2, 1945, brought the fateful day of surrender. General Helmut Weidling, the German commander in Berlin, had no option but to capitulate to the relentless Soviet advance. The battle was over, but the human toll was staggering. The elation of the Soviet soldiers was tinged with sorrow, their victory heavy with the haunting memories of war's horrors. For the few civilians who had endured the nightmare of the battle, emerging from their hiding places was both a relief and the beginning of an uncertain journey toward rebuilding their lives. The aftermath revealed a city in ruins. Berlin, once a bustling metropolis, lay in utter devastation, a haunting landscape of collapsed buildings, smoldering debris, and shattered lives. Soviet troops and Berlin's surviving inhabitants faced the monumental task of rebuilding amid the rubble. The scars of war would linger for generations, a constant reminder of the price paid for the ambitions of a dictator. The surrender of Berlin came on May 2, 1945, a momentous day in history. Sergei stood among the victorious Red Army soldiers, his face reflecting a mixture of exhaustion and relief. The battle was over, and Berlin was in ruins, but the tyranny of the Third Reich had been vanquished. The division of Berlin into occupation zones was a further layer of complexity in the post-war era. Families found themselves torn apart by the invisible lines that now sliced through the city. This division, as would become evident in the years that followed, sowed the seeds of the Cold War, with Berlin emerging as a crucible of East-West tensions for decades to come. The battle for Berlin in 1945 was an epic and heart-wrenching saga, marked by relentless fighting, immense sacrifice, and unwavering survival instincts. It bore witness to the extraordinary resilience and determination of ordinary people thrust into the crucible of history. Amidst the darkest of times, it was a testament to the enduring power of hope and the human spirit's ability to persevere. After the war, Sergei returned to his homeland, bearing the physical and emotional scars of his experiences in Stalingrad and Berlin. He reunited with his family, and together they embarked on the challenging journey of rebuilding their lives in a world forever changed by the war. The echoes of the front lines would never fade entirely from Sergei's memory, but he held on to the hope that future generations would know a world without the horrors of war. He had witnessed the darkest depths of humanity but had also seen the resilience of the human spirit. Sergei's story, like so many others from that era, was a testament to the enduring power of hope, camaraderie, and the indomitable will to survive amidst the chaos of war. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. We're excited to keep exploring with you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas for future videos, so drop them in the comments below.